All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is, and right here, right now, we actually have an East Coast hip hop legend straight out of Detroit, Michigan. That's right, the 313. We got Mud of Five Elements right here, right now.
Yay!
How are you doing this evening?
Yay! Yay! I'm doing great, man. I'm excited. DJ Immortal, thank you for having me on. All gratitude and honor go out to all the hip hoppers all over the world, from East Coast, West Coast, worldwide, Midwest. You know what I mean? I'm excited to be here, brother.
And I gotta say,
How's your day going?
man, best I can possibly be, man. Just enjoying my Friday night, looking forward to seeing what shall prosper for the weekend, man. I have no plans. I just kind of go with the flow, but hopefully it's a damn good weekend. First weekend of fall as well.
Oh, yeah, sure is, too. Sure is. We're getting a nice little weather over here. You know, stand drop down to the 60s. So, you know, it's kind of like leather weather, bomber jacket weather. So, you know, the fall fashion comes in. You know, we used to do that hip-hop shop thing back in the day. So that fall, you know what I'm saying, we like the ball in the fall. Good.
But Mud, I know you're a busy individual, man, so I'm going to dive right into this interview, man. But I want to take you back to the ripe year of 1992, where you actually became a member of the 7 Mile Detroit hip hop group Five Elements. I was always wondering, man, what is the story behind this group, and of course, how did you actually get connected with the other members?
Uh, okay, well, it goes a little bit like this. It's kind of a long story. It's kind of saving that for the book and the documentary. Nah, I tell you, it was like this, right? Time was a rapper by the name of Deuce Deuce who lived around the corner from me. Now, he was my best friend Andre's older brother. So he would play his brother's demos like my brother could rap, man. And I listen to him, and he'd come over because, you know, this is the Nintendo days. So this is like the late 80s going into the 90s. So I wasn't really rapping yet. I was more singing. I was doing my gospel thing. Grew up in a church type of background, Baptist. So I was interested in the rap game and all of that. You know, I love Big Daddy Kane, you know, Kwame, you know, most of the dudes who had the high top fades back in the day, because that was the fashion he was doing. So it was like the high top. His brother used to cut hair, so I wanted a high top. And I wanted to learn how to rap. So eventually, I'd get my little $6, go around the corner, get a bootleg haircut from Guy, Deuce Deuce then, and, you know, he would download me on, you know, what was hip, what was hot. So I was like, okay, I started studying a lot, you know, getting into, you know, just the 5 elements of hip-hop. You know, he was just giving me the game, like you got to do this and learn how to DJ too, and, you know, the graffiti and then write your name, because he was an artist. Except for the dancing, I think Dime kind of did all the elements. He could draw, DJ, all of that. So with that, I might have been 11, 12. By the time I got to high school is when I met Proof under the alias of Maxima. We sat at the same lunch table, 4th hour. And like at that time, I played all type of instruments, so we was musical and beating on the tables and, you know, stuff like that. And these guys were rap. K9, the 9 from the 9 Porter, from the D12 fame. He was there at the table. It was Rest in Peace, Phil Pye. It was so many different players. K9, Rest in Peace. So many guys that was there that were super talented. So from that, later on that summer when we got out of school, Time and Proof hooked up and became a group. So now I'm really watching both of them because I know both of them from, you know, one from school and one from around the corner. So summer's out, the guys would be around or whatever. They asked me if I want to tag along. I wasn't doing nothing. I didn't really have a curfew. So I go to the studio with them guys, and I would, you know, just, you know, make beats or throw a bass line in here and there. And, you know, I just was really around a lot. And then one day, we were at the Rhythm Kitchen, and it was this dude named Coco they was looking for, because they was looking for an addition to the group. Now, mind you, I was in my own group called UBU, UBU. And from that, man, was basically my partner had some domestic problems. His mother was on drugs, crazy story. She shot him, tried to kill him. His dad took him off from military school, so I ain't had no partner. They was kind of feeling bad for me and my situation. They was looking for a partner. And then eventually they both got on the phone and was like, Mud, he's always with us everywhere we go. And I was helping them look for a partner at the time, because at that time I didn't really think I could keep up. I was serious, and I was good. Like, I was always dope. but I didn't have the confidence. They gave me that confidence. And they both called me on a three-way conversation on the phone, and they was like, look, man, it's you. We want you to be in the group. I'm like, nah, like, because there was other rappers around. IQ from the Dirty Dozen fame. It was Clockwork, just so many different rappers. And they just was like, man, you always here. And you know what I'm saying? So that was it. And by that time, it wasn't Five Elements yet. It was Yaku Dapu, named after the Hanna-Barbera Genie cartoon with Babu would say his power word. He would always say, like, Yaku Dapu. And he would never create what he was trying to create. It would always be something different, but it still was suitable for whatever task he was trying to perform. That's how we were in the studio. We would go in and try and make a song and say, we're going to do something like this or like that. And then it would never turn out the same, but it would still be banging. So the group became Yaku Dapu. Then we broke up around 1993 when 93 to Infinity came out. And I think it was A+ when he said, if you really dope, why ain't you signed yet? But I get my dude from John Zama, I'm a bomb you. You know what I'm saying? To the 93 to Infinity. Proof took that to heart. Proof had dropped out of school to rap. It was just so much stuff just beating on his creativity and his self-esteem at that time. He had a baby. Now, mind you, Proof had a child when he was 15. So by the time I'm going over his house, building with him, he's already a father. You dig? He's like maybe 18, 19. So, you know what I mean? It was just all these different responsibilities that he had. And he was on child support, too. So he had to pay the bills or else. So he dropped out of school, started going, started working at Little Caesars. That's where the him and Eminem story come in, with the working at Little Caesars. We picked those guys up. And we all be in the car like in the 8 Mile movie, just riding, the paint gun stories and shooting at prostitutes with paint guns and on up and down Woodward, like we were cleaning up the streets on this righteous thing. We're these crazy kids. And we go hang out and we would sharpen our swords basically at the Rhythm Kitchen. So much of that came around, man. We broke up. Simon and I became a group. Proof went with the Maurice Malone situation. Next thing I know, by 1994, he was the manager at the hip hop shop. And man, he came to pick me up one day after Illmatic had came out, because we were already doing double syllables and complex rhymes and rhyme schemes and stuff like that. So when he heard Nas, this was like around my birthday. He picked me up for my birthday, took me all around the city, places Illmatic for me. I'm freaking out because I'm like, wow, I never heard nobody take the bar game to that level. And he just, just from school, me, still feed me. We didn't get back together at that particular time, but he was working with Dilla, or JD at the time, or John Doe, Doe at the time, and we were too. So Doe one day set us up. We met at the hip-hop shop, and then he talked us, or basically convinced us, into becoming a group again. And he was like, man, I like what y'all was doing, but together y'all would be better. Why don't y'all just go ahead and do the group thing, and I'll do all the beats. So he's like, wait a minute. So you talking about doing like a pet project? Because my man had the crazy beats at that particular time. Like, I don't know no time when Doe, Dilla, JD, Buddy Lee, whatever you want to call my man's, rest in peace, there was no time when he was not dope either. So the sound was different than what it is today. However, he talked us into becoming a group. And then from there, we didn't know what to call the group. I had the idea of calling the group Ellipsis because of the, the 3 dots. Like, we'd be the 3 dots, like ellipsis, like dot, dot, dot. But, of course, like maybe 20 years later, Jay-Z, that was like one of his code names or whatever for his publishing companies or whatever. You know what I mean? But I was on there. I called it Ellipsis. We called it dot, dot, dot. However, this was 94. And we came up with Elementz. And Elementz was kind of cool. It's like, yeah. But then we thought about it, and it was 5 different stages that we had went through. Like I said before, we were a group called Yaku Dapu. And then there was the Itvius group. And then there was the 3 individuals, the Time, the Mud, and the Proof. So those groups and that evolution is what became the 5 Elements. And then later, of course, Proof, and then, Time, Mud, then you got DJ Head, he was the DJ, and then Dilla was on the beat. So that sound and that tour, whatever we was doing, like show status, rock shows and hoes, just blowing up and just taking Detroit on a roller coaster, that became the signature sound and series and the pioneering of what Detroit hip-hop, not just rap, from a hip-hop, all 5 elements. Once we all worked at the, hip-hop shop, and, man, it just became this huge thing, and we just kind of solidified it, and a lot of groups came and built from us. Like I said, Slim Village was there. They were around, but it wasn't even 3 members yet. Ken wasn't in the group. He was in a group called Last Ones Out. So just to help them and pioneer them to get their thing together, and, man, it was wild, man. It was just super fun. I mean, that's basically in a nutshell how 5 Elements came together.
And also, man, in the year 1996, 5 Elements actually released a classic EP titled Yesteryears. For the listeners that might not know the story behind this earlier released EP, I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about it.
Well, Yesteryears, like I said, it was a combination of the sounds that we were doing from 92. Now, we had all these songs already. That's also, like, Yesteryears led up to the album The Time Forgot. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but Yesteryears was a composite of some of the demo songs that we first did when we first got back together. So that was like maybe 94, some stuff from 93, 94 going into 96, because it was a demo at first. So we had like maybe 5, 6 song demo. And then, we just kept recording the tapes and stuff like that, using, double cassette recorder. And we would sell the tapes, like, blank tapes. Go get you a TDK or whatever. And we were doing that for probably, I'd say 2 years, from 94 to 96. By the time of late 95, I started working, or early 96, I started working at the hip-hop shop as well, with Diamond Proof. So Maurice Malone saw a hustle in a lot of what we were doing, and he was just like, well, look, why don't you guys put out the records yourself? Like, why don't you just post it up yourself? Y'all got jobs, y'all got money. Why don't y'all just do it? And we were like, well, how do you do that? Like you can do that? Like, you know what I mean? We only heard of record companies and people like that, eligible or able to print up their own stuff. So he gave us a Dance Makers catalog, and we lost it, man. Like, we lost our minds. Like, what? You can pay this amount and get 500 tapes? We chopped it down to 5 songs because that was the probably like the limit of the cheapest that we could get for that time. And when you look at Yesteryears, it was a colorful picture, but we made it black and white. And that's a picture of Time's mother and father on the cover. That's like one of their first few dates when they first started going out. And we had like a bunch of old pictures that we, picked from, like my mother and father, Proof's mother and father, stuff like that. Stuff from like throwback from the, 70s, around the time we were being born. And that picture stuck. It seemed classic. And we sent out the tape, man. It came back. We worked at the hip-hop shop. Like I said, we had 500 tapes. We sold them for $3 in 2 days. I think they came on a Thursday. By Saturday, gone. We re-upped again. It came back. Boom, gone. We re-upped again. And we started traveling with it. And we kept, from the Freakniks down into Atlanta and, the Jack the Rappers, and all that type of stuff. We would be somewhere selling tapes. Group would be traveling back and forth to New York with Maurice. So, this was at the Please Listen to My Demo times. And, we were sending demos to different labels and stuff like that and whatnot. And, nobody really was messing with us, really. You know what I mean? Until later when we found out that a lot of these rappers from New York, Chicago, stuff like that, they knew it. They were very good to us. They knew exactly who we were. But that came a little bit later. That's like 97.
And I got to say as well, when you actually mentioned a few moments ago about your guys' 1998 album, The Time Forgot, I got to say, man, I actually tried finding myself a copy of that particular project, and I noticed as well that on Discogs, saw some individual for $3,500, man. I was like, Jesus.
Yes, sir. They are very, very valuable, very rare, there are some diehard fans because of, like, that was like the first mashup of an album like that. And, like, it even goes back to What You Want, which is like 93 flavor. And that was when we were Yappy Dappy. Like, in that song, you could say, you hear us shouting out Yappy, and you hear those young voices. And I just got to say, man, like, that was monumental, bro. That was like the first time I ever went to the studio, First time I ever rapped on the beat was a John Doe, J Dilla beat. 93, that song right there. The first song, me coming on, Alakazam, here I am with no hocus pocus. That was like my first time recording, and it's just beautiful to know I have that still to this day to say, like, wow, receipt. Like, that's my first time, like, rapping, y'all. And Dilla did the beat, and we didn't even know we was going to be, like, you know, monumental, pioneering, blueprint, operators, constructors, whatever you want to call us. It's an honor. I say that. However, we did not know what we were doing. DJ Head on the beats, we had DJ Dez on the beats, Proof on the beats, and Dilla as well. So all of them pitched in that collaborative sound of what the album Time Forgot is. Now, there's a good thing that you should probably know. There are re-releases on the way, my good man. I'm talking cassettes, CDs, and vinyls. However, I'm going to do it in reverse. I'm going to give the people 5E Part 3, the 1999 release, first. The vinyl just got back today, okay? The orders are going online tomorrow. It is on Most Wanted Records. My people out in Luxembourg, yes, that's over there in Europe. Overseas vinyl, different colors, new sound, remix, Dilla joints, Proof, the whole group. It's going down, brother and more.
I gotta say, I'm definitely looking forward to getting my hands on one of those. And since we're on the topic of that, man, I know individuals, the real fans of Five Elements, are definitely on the edge of their seat right now, man. So how do these individuals actually pre-order or get a hold of you, or even get an order in tomorrow? How do they go about doing so?
Well, if they want the order in tomorrow, you go on to mostwantedrecords.com. Check out Most Wanted. They make a lot of boom bap stuff. So the library is crazy. However, there will be the first 5 elements, like I said, will be the part 3, and then I'm going to release the album Time Forgot. The whole album might have a couple more goodies on there. Yes, to titillate the fans. Maybe some beats or something I ain't heard yet. Like I was telling people, man, look, it's Mud Dog. I'm Mud Dog the Spez. Stezz. You can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook. Look up Mud Dog. The Moorish Mud Show on YouTube. The Moorish Mud Show is my basically show where it's not a podcast, which is me dropping daily dialogue and rules and regulations, game for the people, information on health, information on love, politics, all that type of stuff. So the Moorish Mud Show will probably be the better bet on YouTube. Follow, like, subscribe, just telling people. I will be informing them because the website is under construction, yes. All of this stuff is coming soon. Just, I want the people to know this is a grassroots thing that Mud is doing. I am not receiving any help from any record labels. I am not receiving any type of donations or any type of things like that as of yet. I'm not refusing anything, however, just saying this is very grassroots. So people, please be patient. Take your time. I don't want to make any mistakes in business because Detroiters have this, I don't know what it is. It's almost like a curse, man, where we can make some of this great music, but then it's always a disaster or a terror story about how nobody ever got paid and made their money back. All the studio time and all the stuff that we've invested in. So I'm being very cautious as I move from here on out. A lot of these things I'm doing personally. A lot of the band members and, you know what I'm saying, group members have, you know, lives, families. I'm like the youngest one of all of my crew. I'm 45 now. You see what I'm saying? So, like, Em is 50. So you got to imagine, I was hanging with people when I'm 15, they 20. You see what I'm saying? So I grew up fast and just watching a lot of these guys make mistakes, the drugs falling off, a lot of that stuff. I'm not going through any of that. You know what I mean? Happily married. I got 3 daughters. I don't have time for the nonsense. But what I do have time for is doing my business right and correct so I can feed my family and we can keep these legacies going and we can keep a whole lot of beautiful music going for the people, man. Because I know they love it. And I love it, you know?
And also, as well, jumping kind of the timeline a little bit, man, in the year 2004, you were actually featured on T. Stucky's album titled At 72 Hours on the song It's
Oh,
Going
wow.
Down alongside Big Dog. I was wondering,
Ow.
how did yourself and T. Stucky
Oh, this homework.
get connected? And of course, what's the story just behind this amazing collaboration?
Okay, let's go back to 96, okay? Because there was a Motor City compilation that we were on first, Five Elementz was on. And then there was the Ball that came out in 2001 or 2002. So I've been almost all the T. Stucky records, basically, that have ever been out. Five Elementz has as well. T. Stucky used to babysit Proof when he was a child, okay? Proof is not originally from 7 Mile like we thought when we met him. He's really from Puritan on a street called Stoughton. Stucky lived 2 houses down from Proof and used to babysit him. So that has been like his play, cousin forever. So by the time we got our fame up at the hip-hop shop, this is how I met T. Stucky. T. Stucky comes into the hip-hop shop, bang, pulling all types of stuff off the shelves, and he buying this and this and this and this and this, and I'm like, wow, okay, this is a good day. Oh man, he got about $300, $400, $500 worth of merchandise. I'm like, man, we might have to close early today. Look at this, y'all. Wow. Then he starts asking, can I work with him? Can I give him a discount? Like, okay, I can do something here and there. I get maybe $5 here off there, $2 off this off each item. He looks at the tab and says, no, man, I can't. No, man. What Proof at, man? Like, what Proof? Like, you don't even want to talk to me, no. You cut me off. Man, what Proof at? He loud. Proof come out from the back because Proof is the manager. You know what I'm saying? I'm just regular court retailer or whatever. And he's like, oh, what's up? What are you like? I got this one. So, he started hooking him up, whatever. And he's like, yeah. They started talking, so I'm listening. They talking about music. So he's like, man, here's my car, man. Come over to the studio, da-da-da-da-da-da, because I hear what y'all doing. By the time, like, we had yesterday's out at this time. So, mind you, we had rotation on the radio. There were several radio stations, including Canadian radio stations, because Windsor is like South Detroit. So, the University of Windsor radio station carries over here, too. So, you know what I mean? We had a lot of hip-hop going and a lot of the promo and whatever. So, Stuck was seeing it. He wanted us to work with him. We went over to the studio. He heard us rap. We did some stuff with some G beats like that. He was just like, what? I can rap like that, too? And it's like, man, we're from Detroit, bro. Like, rap is rap. It ain't, it ain't the beat. It's, you just do what the beats say do. We got style and flavor. We're not pigeonholed into any kind of, degree or whatever. So he really liked what we were doing. He just kind of put his arms around us like we was his little brothers. Started taking us down to Atlanta, recording down there, just, the whole music industry, that vibe. Hanging out with him is like how I met Big Meech. Shout out to Big Meech. That's how I met Puffy, Mace. Man, like all these people were in the club, like coming up to us, kicking it with us, because we was like, this is like BMF before BMF. This is pre-BMF. It's not Black Mafia family yet. This is just Motor City Records, because all of that is like together. That's like one family. Puritan Avenue. Shout out to PA down. You know what I'm saying? Which is like a family. It's not a gang or anything like that. It's just a big family of people, of just hustlers and money makers and people who get money in, show love and support one another. So that, after Stuck got out of prison for the gun violation, we got into, getting into his album. Because I had to push him to do an album because he wanted to keep doing compilations to feature the whole crew. And I was like, nah, bro, you got to do one album. You're going to do 5 Elements, or we going to do a T. Stucky album, one or the other. He was like, well, let's do the T. Stucky. So by the time we got with Big Dog, It's Going Down, all of that, like we were there every day he did his album. We helped him with this album. Time was on like maybe 6 songs. It was almost like it was almost a duo on that album. You feel me? So that song, Big Dog, Rest in Peace, It's Going Down. Man, that's that beat. I love it, man. I love that sound. I love that whole early 2000s, that whole vibe is fun, man.
And I gotta say, man, that whole album was absolutely fire.
Yes, and it was kind of like what Jeezy and a lot of them guys was doing before Jeezy. When you listen to it, the beats and that sound, it stuck with a guy to deal at 50 Cent, if they gave 50 Cent. You know what I mean? Because I'm telling you, T. Stucky did a lot for Marshall Mathers. He did a lot for Paul Rosenberg. So, man, just for, I don't even hear no big ups or no, you know what I'm saying, free T. Stucky, no T-shirt, no nothing. None of these guys. But had Stucky got that 50 Cent deal, that kind of push, man, hip-hop would be, in Detroit, man, it would not look like, the state would not be what it is today. It wouldn't be as divided as it is today. So that's what I got to do, man. I got to unify the people, man.
And also, as well, 1 year after the T. Stucky album, you were actually featured on Proof's album, Searching for Jerry Garcia, on the song Slum Elements. I was wondering if you can actually just tell our listeners the story behind that recording session, and of course, what was it like just being featured on Proof's solo record? Because obviously you guys were working together for years upon years in Fifth Elements.
Yeah. With the Five, with the Fifth, I mean, it was cool, but it was weird on this particular album because at that particular time, I wasn't dealing with time. I mean, I had a business, you know, differentials. He would like to, I don't know, he even lived in Canada. He lived in Toronto. Shout out to all my Habesha people in Toronto, man. You know what I'm saying? All that Ethiopian, Eritrean culture. I love my Habesha people, man. They really supported us, though. But Don has a Habesha daughter, actually, in Toronto. And her name is Jahara Russell. Shout out to Jahara. Hope she's out there. Hope she's listening. She's listening. Hey, a lot of love. Uncle Mug got love for you. And, man, it's just, it's Proof. He embraced me once I wasn't dealing with time anymore because of time's dragging his feet, kind of. He likes to drag his feet. So in the song, I'm talking about time. R.L. Altman, a.k.a. T3, is talking about Jay Diller and his misdealings. And Deshaun Dupree Holton is definitely talking about Marshall Mathers in that song and how they weren't really tight before Proof died. So when you go back and you listen to a lot of the songs, you know, they try to make it seem like, you know, it was all good and people was paid properly and a whole lot of stuff. And, you know, Proof was just giving me a lot of information about the game and, you know, certain things. Don't sign no record deals. You know what I'm saying? You don't need no manager. You know, a lot of this stuff you already know yourself, man. You just go ahead and do your own thing. You know, he probably prepared me because we hadn't talked from, I'd probably say 1999, 2000 maybe, during the hype of Eminem, when he was Eminem's hype man. We really didn't talk. I didn't see him. And it wasn't like a beef, but there was rumors and misconduct on his hand while he wasn't dealing with us. So he was telling other people other things, and he was just kind of bandwagoning, going with the flow with, you know, whatever the D12 thing was. As you listen back, you know, you can listen. The Proof in Five Elements and the Proof in D12 is not the same guy. We didn't do drugs. It wasn't fight music. We were more spiritual warriors and, you know, battling all of this, but the guns and the drugs and all of that, no. We hung out with the dealers, not the users. You understand me? You with me, Immortal?
Oh, I definitely hear you. I hear you loud and clear, man.
Okay, so with Proof, going out there with the success and then not getting what he thought he was going to get, he fell back, came to me, was like, look, man, you know what I'm saying? I want you to basically be an officer in Iron Fist. I want you to, you know, come in here and help me with the artist development. He had a lot of, you know, groups, the Wolf Pack, Purple Gang, and, you know, it was a whole bunch of different people that was there. And he wanted to expand. However, he wanted me as an officer to come in and help him, you know, get a lot of these guys together and kind of basically fire some dudes and get them up out of there because he had spoiled a lot of people. He had taken a lot of these dudes around the world and all kinds of stuff, and none of them really had a rites of passage to rap or even be in a group. He just kind of was moving too fast, and he was slowing down and really trying to clean up the business, and that was what that whole thing was about. It was like, bud, I'm not just wanting you on the song. I really want you back in my life and my business like that. And I took it as, you know, I love you, bro, but you kind of created a monstrosity of nonsense over here with a lot of his business that he was doing in Iron Fist. And I didn't want any part of it, you know what I mean? Because I could see myself coming in and firing a few people. And, of course, Proof told me to do it. But, come on, Proof wasn't going to stand there. He's going to throw the stone and hide his hand. He's that kind of guy. And he loved these dudes because he was taking them around the world and stuff, but a lot of them really didn't make the cut, and he realized that. So just moving forward, we put out the song, we talked about it, got with T3, we talked about his, you know, dealings with Dilla. All of us sat down and started building, like really, you know what I'm saying, before we wrote the song, it was a real conversation, and they really were asking me about time, like, what's up? And I'm like, man, you know, he just dragging his feet. I don't understand. And then they was like, okay, we was waiting for you to finally see that one day. And I was like, well, why y'all sitting around waiting for me to see something? You know what I'm saying? Why you just couldn't tell me? And they was like, well, you know, that's your boy, and if we told you whatever, you might not have believed this. We ain't want to look like we was hating. So I'm like, okay, you finally saw it for yourself. Okay, well, all right, boom. So now they're like, well, come on in. Let's do the song. We did the song. Denon did the beat, of course. You know, he sang the hook as well. Because, of course, like I told you, we all know each other from the east side. Shout out to Runyon Ave, which looks like it's a militarized zone. I don't think it's about 3 houses on the block now since that whole fight music and Purple Pill thing. But, you know what I'm saying? It's the hood, man. Gotta love it, man. Gotta love it, man. Thanks to Jerry Garcia. That was a dope song, too. Kind of the blues of, you know, what we're going through in the music industry, man. You have a partner, you want him to, you know what I'm saying, stick around. He's, you know what I mean, going off, he's distracted by the girls, or, you know, you got a buddy over here, and, you know, he got his deal, and he's selfish with the money. He wants you to boss up, but then, you know, he's smacking you with $50,000, and, you know, just, T3 went through a lot dealing with Dilla, man. A lot of people don't know, man. But he was very abusive when he had that cash, you know what I'm saying? And then Eminem with the Proof situation, yeah, you look at that. You know, Proof told me he was on a waiting list. He couldn't even really see him like he used to. Couldn't just call him no more. Once he got so rich, it was just, you know, politics as usual, I guess. So
I gotta say though, that's freaking crazy though, man. Like being boys for so long, and then all of a sudden you have to be on a wait list to talk to your friend. Man, if Proof was M's real friend, in my honest opinion, he'd be having that personal number. You can bang that line anytime.
Well, what they say? Money, 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 money! Money! Money, 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 money! Hey, man, that money changes. Don't let money change you. Almighty dollar changes people, man. Or people become more of what they already were. That's how I look at it. Marshall may have never really been on our side all along. He might have just been on the fastest train running. We were it. We had a blueprint. We stuck with it, got to a point, and said, I'll see y'all guys when I see y'all.
I have to say, like, when's the last time you actually bumped into Eminem? Because I obviously don't know if Eminem still lives in Detroit or where he's staying at now. But when's the last time yourself, Mud, actually ran into Marshall Mathers?
At the funeral. I have not seen Marshall since the funeral. And like you know, you may know, and a lot of people know, yes, I was there when Proof was murdered. However, it would seem like seeing something tragic and messed up like that, people would have my back and at least just say, hey, you all right? You good? You need anything? I have not heard from him, Rosenberg, none of them guys. I ran into Swift at the D12 at the Rakim concert. You know what I mean? But other than that, I ain't seen nobody to even ask me nothing about nothing. And a lot of them know, yes, Proof was, he was hella reckless. He was doing a lot of reckless things. Seriously. Towards people that loved him, his mom included. So I don't know where his mental capacity was, the drugs, the fame, the going up, coming down, the crash. You know, the hazing Proof is tolerated, it seems like. He was hazed, him being in a clown suit, and, you know what I'm saying, the first video, he got the paint on his face, and it's just like, well, wait a minute, what is this? What part of the game is this? When did B12 turn into some parody, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince? Parents just don't understand kind of thing, you feel me? When did we start? What's all these jokes? What's all this fighting and all this violence? What's all these drugs? None of us did that, man. That was a new thing. So it was kind of like, I don't know, COINTELPRO or something. You know what I mean? You know how they put crack in the black community on purpose? The government did it. Oliver North, Iran-Contra, they making movies about it. Snowfall and all of that. There's a pill fall around here. You know what I'm saying? It happened, bruh.
And I gotta say, Mud, I actually did not know that you were actually there that night, man. Like, normally when I do research for the interviews, I tend to kind of shift away from stuff like that and focus on the positive, man. But if you don't mind me asking, if you don't mind me asking, just pertaining to this night, like, could you actually tell our listeners the real story behind it since you were there?
Well, it's basically a situation where you might want to check out The Untold Story of Detroit Hip Hop. It's on Amazon Prime. I tell the whole story on there. It's on Amazon Prime. The whole thing is a movie that I helped co-produce with my man Chaptown. It's called The Untold Story of Detroit Hip Hop. It gives you a whole background of all of that. Now, I'll say that to say this. In short, Proof didn't kill anyone. From my point of view, it seemed to be a misunderstanding, or maybe Proof may have owed these dudes some money or something, and I was in the place to be, and I had my pistol on me, or he may have had me around because he knew I could carry my pistol legally. He had gotten into some trouble with Royce the 5'9". Both of them had pulled out pistols on each other on some nonsense or whatever. So he caught a case, Royce caught a case, and Proof can hold no more. So I guess he was having me around. Like I said, once we made up and all of that, we was hanging and kicking or whatever. So basically, in the hurrah of all the fighting, a bouncer gets the shooting. Proof runs over to me. I'm thinking that he's trying to stop me from pulling my gun, but I'm looking at the guy, and the guy's shooting in the air. So I'm like, well, he's not aiming at us. He's shooting to break up the fight. I've seen this done a lot of times. You know, cloud killers. People just, shooting in the air. And from that, man, Proof runs over to me, runs me into a pool table, grabs the gun off of my waist, and goes over and gets to fighting and again. I'm thinking, it's time to leave. It's slow down. And my last words to Proof before he ran me into the table and runs over to the other side of the room and gets shot to death. I told him, it's not that serious. And, he was on 10. He was already activated, man. He could go 0 to death row in a minute time, split seconds. That's just his personality. That's how he was. And to me, from my hood perspective, I just think it was like what we call in the hood, man, pardon my English, a nigga moment. Two men get on some ego shit and some stupidness, and all of a sudden, two men are dead based on some ego, something they just, fathers, they ain't considering their children, they ain't considering nothing. They just reckless, just throw their lives away for whatever it was about. I don't know, because later on in life I found out most of us in there went to Osborne together, which is our high school. So the killer, the killer of Proof, it was his cousin he said he was fighting with. And from my point of view, Proof didn't shoot nobody. The cousin shot both of them. And whatever panic he was doing, once he realized it was a gun in the club. But he thought he had the only gun in the club. I stuck my piece up in there, you feel me? Glock 32. 357 SIG round, man. It was my baby. Wrote a song about it. Check me out on my SoundCloud. My dog upstairs on SoundCloud, too. Check me out. You know what I'm saying? Like the Kerry J. Dilla did the beat. But yeah, they, you know what I'm saying, to turn a gun in to the police, they checked it out, forensic. My gun didn't kill nobody. So all the people saying that Proof killed somebody, and then the wrongful death suit against his estate, and just so much nonsense because, like I said, nigga moment, these two dudes just activating, going crazy, and fighting, and I mean, I'm talking about a fight, bro. They was bucking. They was bucking. So it just was terrible. But for it to end in gun violence and all of that, you know what I'm saying, my condolences to everybody's family, because I ain't want nobody should be losing their life over something so trivial. It started as a pool game, and escalated, and you know what I mean? It's just messed up, man. So for me to see that, go through that, have to go to court, testify, tell everybody, a room full of strangers, my life dealings with Proof and all of this, and people trying to probably get me caught up on the stand and prosecute me about my pistol in the club and some other stuff. And, you know what I mean? It's crazy, bro. And then other people start trying to say I had something to do with it. Conspiracy. Oh, he was there and this and that. And I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, anybody trying to say something like that apparently did not know Sean. Deshaun would be in the Proof. Deshaun Holton would be into a lot of different stuff, man. He wasn't being honest with us, especially when he was in his street dealings and whatnot. So he wasn't necessarily an angel. The other guys weren't necessarily angels either. I'm probably like the only angel in there looking around innocent, like what the hell is going on? And it's bullets and gun smoke, man. And, you know what I'm saying, I had to get up out of there. I had to see my man on the floor. I leave up out of there, come back. Man, it's just crazy. They trying to tell everybody, look, y'all, that's what we going to say. We're going to dump Proof body out in the alley somewhere. We're going to say he got shot at the Coney Island and some other shit. I'm like, what the fuck? Wait a minute now. Hold up. I ain't going for that one right there. Can't do that. Time for me to go. Got my gun up off the ground. I think it was some kind of setup. Like they was trying to put the gun here and, you know, whatever. They didn't. I guess they didn't see him get it from me. I guess they thought he had it on him. But that was my person. So I'm like, let me get my shit. Because before we were just running around trying to call the police, ambulance, everything. I was looking for my phone. You know, shocked, man. I ran outside. Thought my phone was in the car. Came back in. My phone's sitting over here on the bar. Grabbed that. Called 911. You know, just there was a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? Just in panic because we didn't know if he was dead. We didn't know what was going on. But by the time, you know, I went outside and came back, the other guy's body was gone. Keith Bender, his body was gone. And then from there, I'm thinking, like, we get Proof to the hospital next, right? Like, where's everybody to pick this dude up? Let's go. And they was like, no, this is what we about to do. And I'm like, oh, I don't even know where I'm at. It was just like, I realized the danger of where I was at. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going for none of this, and I'm not about to make a big deal either about it. I'm about to be quiet. I'm about to grab this pistol, and if anybody follow me about this door, they gonna catch heartburn. Because I don't know who the hell or what, none of this is going on. And I know my street people, I got to get back to my people and tell them the truth. This is what happened. So I knew I had to survive if nothing was real. It was survival because it was some conspiracy after the other guy had died. I mean, the other guy had got shot, and they didn't want to take Proof to the hospital. So I don't know, man. Like I said, that was like my second time ever going to that spot with Proof, and I don't know what the hell who was doing what over there. I have no idea. All I know is two brothers lost their lives. I had to witness that shit through the grace of God Almighty and the training and spiritual lessons and all of that I've gone through and my training. I'm fine, bro. I'm good. All I need is for people to participate in this next move mission, 5 Elements, support the music, support Proof when he was positive, support Dilla when he was doing that sweet, super duper duper dope styles. Ahead of anybody, way before it all got commercial and, you know, all them East Coast dudes started trying to copy what we was doing. West Coast too, man. Shout out to Mad with it. You know what I mean? A lot of them, man, they love what we do, man. You know, imitation is the best form of flattery, they say.
But I have to ask, because I do know we talked about briefly earlier about how you have a brand new vinyl, brand new record and stuff that's actually able to be pre-ordered starting tomorrow. I was wondering, what is next for yourself, Mud, man? Is there anything we happen to miss during tonight's interview? Anything else you do still want to talk about or promote? What we still got you here live on the Canadian FM dial this evening?
Yes, I'm not just talking past, man. I'm talking past, present, and future. I'm going to give you guys 5 elements just as the prequel, if you will. Then in the middle, yes, we will be serving some Solo Mud. Yes, Solo Mud has a top 10s album. This is called Top 10. Blood on my top 10s, actually, because there's blood out there now. There's blood on the dance floor. I seen my man pass like that. Blood on my top 10s. You understand? With that, I got tracks from, produced by, Nick Speed. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Nick Speed got some jams on there. Shout out to Nick Speed. We got Proof on the beats as well. Oh, yeah, you know, Proof was a dope producer. This is one of them albums I was going to put out back in 2005, 6. This is what I was working on when I separated from Don, going into, you know what I'm saying, the Searching for Jerry Garcia era. I got past projects I'm going to release this year. You get it? It's going down. And then, man, I got the future. That album, that Global Warming, man. Global Warming 2022. That's coming next. And then after that one, I got a solo project called Tales of an Alpha Male. That's the Solo Mud, once again. So all of that will be done. Y'all gobble all of that up probably before the end of the year, I would say. Videos included, like I said. More Schmud Show. Watch the YouTube. Blow up my channel. Support the videos. Support the Mud, man. Reginald Moore, man. That's the guy. That's me, Reginald. Yes, Moore, last name. Moorer. One of them East Side Moors from Detroit. Please understand, it's critical. We have hundreds of Dilla beats that nobody has heard yet. Yes. Talking to Rakim about some features. Talking to KRS-One. Mud, KRS-One, Brother Jay on the Dilla beat. You see what I'm saying? You understand what we want here? The righteousness is getting ready to start connecting. You understand what I'm saying? Howard, the love, the people who really care about the culture. It's time for the unification on that level so we all can get apart and be at peace. And really establishing that what Temple of Hip Hop really is, man. It's so simple, man. I'm just saying it. It's just love that needs to be spread. And once people can understand where it is and how to get it, hey, I got it in abundance. It's beats. It's rhymes. It's all types of good stuff coming up.
And also, Dog Mud, this is the time in the interview quickly that I give a chance for the individual that does slide into the radio station airwaves, just a chance to give, like, shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to, but most of all, your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you and stay updated on everything you currently got going on.
Yes, well, most definitely. Love the Brother Mud. I want to give a shout-out, first off, to T-Dot. I love y'all city. I love performing out there, man. I love y'all festivals. I love just, you know what I mean? It's just, man, it's just good vibes out there. I want to give a shout-out to DJ Butter. I want to give a shout-out to the whole city of Detroit hip-hop, people who support the music, you know what I mean? People who support the love and the whole culture of what we doing. Shout-out to my man Maurice Malone out there in Brooklyn, still making the jeans, still keeping it hot. You know what I'm saying? It's just Mud Dog the Spears, man. Mud Dog is MUDD-ODG. Just so y'all know. MUDD-ODG. Look me up on Twitter. Find me on TikTok. You can find me, same Mud Dog. Yes, that's me. Mm-hmm. Also on YouTube, The Morris Mud Show. Follow. Facebook. Mud Holy. I'm the one. Spiritual one. And get it out the mud. OG. That's all I can tell y'all. You got, man, there's so much hip-hop, so much flavor, there's so much heat coming your way. The Top 10's album's coming first, though. That's going to be the first solo from us, so you can get the street value and the street credit and the street equity and that sweat of what I'm doing lyrically. Also, like I said, today, Most Wanted Records, mostwanted.com, look them up. It's over in Luxembourg. We have the 5E called 3 EP dropping. Yes. Remastered. Sounds so good. We got Dilla beats on there. Shout out to E-Pod. Shout out to E.C. Tricky. Man, shout out to myself, Mud Dog, for putting all this stuff together and really getting it coordinated so people can actually know the history, know where this funky sound comes from. We're taking it back, past, present, to the future, with all different styles, man. And I'm telling you, it's bars for bars for bars. There are no weak bars on none of these albums. And the beats, stop. You already know what it is. Detroit, we always pioneer. We blueprint. We made the blueprint on that music thing. Shout out to Motown as well.
And
Shout out to you, man. Thank you for having me, man. DJ Immortal, come on, man.
I gotta say, man, you are most certainly welcome, man. It definitely was an honor and most certainly a privilege, man, just to chop it up with you here this evening, man. Detroit hip-hop finest in the building, man. I appreciate you, Mud.
Midwest, stand up.
But I gotta say, Mud, definitely have yourself a phenomenal weekend out there in Detroit, man. I'm pretty sure down the line we definitely shall talk again soon.
Yes, sir. And just so you know, a lot of what happened, man, yeah, it was sad, but it's the brighter day. The future is coming. This is a good note. We had a lot of death, but we cleaning that up, man. We moving towards life now. It's about love now. So I just got to my friends, you know what I'm saying, homies in a couple headlocks, and you know what I'm saying, shout out to M, shout out to Rosenberg, you know what I'm saying? They going to figure it out. They going to come back and embrace the mud, too. Watch. Just watch. Watch what happens after this interview. They know they should have been called. We've been dead 16 years, man. Come on. Don't give me a call.
I got to say.
That ain't nobody.
I gotta say, I definitely agree, Mud. You know what I mean? Ain't nowhere but up but here, man. But definitely, man. Thank you so much again, and definitely have yourself a phenomenal weekend, man. I'm pretty sure we definitely should talk again soon.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man. Over and out. Peace and love.